Hello and welcome to the Simon Says Stamp New Dies blog hop. I'm so excited to be here today. I thought I'd share with you how I made the layout I created using the Brilliant and Strong die. So here is the kit that I pulled together to make this layout, and this would be the little sketch that I had in my head that I drew out quickly. So using the Lawn Fawn chevron background stamp and some Hero Arts wet cement mid-tone ink, I'm just stamping along this 12 by 12 piece of white cardstock to create a custom made background. So you can see here I've stamped all the way along, just being sure to line it up really carefully and overlap in the join in the center. I felt like it needed a bit of something to take away the whiteness in the background, so using the Mr. Huey clay mists, I sprayed over the entire piece of cardstock. Now I wanted to create a custom sort of coloured die, so I'm using the Hero Arts Bubblegum Midtone ink, and as you can see I'm just swiping it and moving it around this piece of cardstock to create a colour that is specifically this ink because I love this colour. And once it's dried out a little bit, I'm just going to run it through my Big Shot machine. Any die cutting machine will work with these amazing dies. And you can see the dies are placed there. I managed to fit them all onto a little piece of cardstock, so it's great. These dies are great for using up scraps of paper because they're not huge, so you'll be able to get a lot of use out of them. So all you have to do is run them through your machine and then pop them out of the paper like this. And then using your paper piercer, you just can either lift them up from the back or there's little holes in them to help you pop the pieces of paper out. I wanted to create an extra colour, so this is just a little scrap piece of cardstock I had that I covered with some pretty yellow washi tape, and I've run this through the Big Shot too, and it worked beautifully. So this is the photo I'll be using, and that's the 3 die cut words. And I felt like I needed to bring in a bit more of that pink colour to the background paper, so I'm using the Mr. Huey's Piglet colour mist. The Piglet's not available anymore, but there are a couple of pinks that are very similar. So you can see now the Brilliant, Strong and Anything die cut matches a bit better because of the pink in the background. And I'm adding some pink American Crafts cardstock to create a mat as well. I've die cut, oh sorry, I've punched out a little tab using the Jenny Boland tab punch, and now I'm just using it to adhere, I'm just adhering it to the side of the photograph. But before I do that, I'm just going to brush around the edges with a little bit of walnut stain distress ink, just to make the little tab look a bit more like a store-bought embellishment rather than a piece of paper that's been punched out. Using the Lawn Fawn Lawn Trimmings natural coloured twine, I'm going to create a kind of a pennant banner using some washi tape that I've got sitting there in the corner of the screen, you can see. And all you need to do this is just pull a little strip of the washi tape and fold it over the twine or whatever you decide to use, string or twine, and just basically flatten it together with your fingers to make sure that it's even. And then you just trim off the ends however you want to. I did a couple in the little V shape and a couple with just a diagonal trim to make it so that they all looked like they were individual rather than identical. And I'm just adhering that twine with the banner on it to the cardstock. And by adding this little second piece of tape, it will keep the banner exactly where I want it rather than allowing it to slip around the page, and that will change the arc of the banner. And I like the way these little pennant banners look when they've got I'm really particular about the arc. And by allowing the banners to the little washi banners to stay free, they bring a bit more movement to the layout rather than looking like they're stuck down to the cardstock. So I've used some spray adhesive for these dies this time. You could use anything like Tombow Mono Multi Glue, but I decided to use the spray adhesive because I didn't want any liquid glue to sort of spill out onto the photograph. I've added a few little embellishments already under the photograph you can see here, but now I'm just going to place a Heidi Swap memory file colour label down the bottom of my layout to give me a journaling space. And a way I like to do this, when you've got a really perfectly mirror image shape such as this, a great way to use it is to cut it into one-third and two-third sections, and it kind of gives you a nice way to bring a bit less of a perfect, shape to your layout, but it still looks balanced. Using the Hero Arts basic lowercase letters with some stays on, I'm just finalising my title. I've added "you are" and "you can do" to above the die cut words, so you can see how pretty it looks here and how finely detailed those die cuts are. I've just added a little bit of extra piglet mist there, and now I'm just stamping the date that the photograph was taken because it was my daughter's first day of kindy. And I stamped that date stamp off, and it reminded me of something that Lisa Truesdale does, so I decided to add some little arrow stamping down the bottom facing towards the journaling. It just draws your eye that way without taking away from the overall layout. Thank you so much for watching, and for full details and for the rest of the Blog Hop participants, please visit www.simonsaystampblog.blogspot.com. Thank you.